Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my Callisto Protocol Final Transmission DLC walkthrough, and this is episode 4, which I have named Don't Let It Mellow. And in the room we were just in, where you lose your stun baton, there is also data log number 6, if I recall correctly, so make sure to pick that up before you continue onwards. And now we are in a stealth section because we have lost our baton, as you know if you're playing along with this. So we need to get past these guys, or toasters, so we can find a new weapon. And this is quite easy. We're just gonna wait here for a few seconds until that toaster turns around, and we're gonna head over to the right and follow this other one. And the one on the right will spot me when he turns around. As soon as we get spotted, start running. Make a left, mantle over these crates, move over here, make a right, and go into this vent. And in this vent, there is a double trap. They're upping the ante. And this is very simple. When we move around this corner, a trap will activate at the end of this vent, or quite soon at least. As soon as that starts glowing red, pull back on the left analog stick, so he turns around and we start crawling back. When we get around this corner, another trap will activate, so we pull back on the analog stick again, wait a second for that first trap to move past, and as soon as that has passed you, just go around the corner and you're safe, and we can continue out at the end of the vent. And that was easy, wasn't it? And here we have, of course, another store if you want to sell or buy anything new. And here comes something that I think is quite odd for Callisto Protocol. Because this corridor here, there is no need to go into this corridor. There is nothing to get here. The only thing you will find here is misery. And not even that. This corridor is just more or less here to show you what's on the other side. When you go into this room, when you try to head back out of this room, one enemy will spawn in, so make quick work of him, like so. And start heading back, because you can see there is some loot in that control room, and we're gonna run around and pick that up. And I was surprised playing this the first time, because in my experience playing through the main game, there are never any, so to speak, dead ends. There is always, if there is a branching path, it will of course be a dead end. But it's usually always worth going down that path, because there is some loot at the end of the corridor. But this is not the case with this one. So first time I played for it, I was really puzzled. I went back like twice just to make sure that I hadn't missed anything. Because I was like, there's gotta be something, there is always something, but no, there isn't. Just one enemy. But either way, yes, now we are on a quest to get a new weapon called the kinetic hammer, and with the kinetic hammer we will unlock the trophy Don't Let It Mellow that I have named this episode after. And the trophy for Don't Let It Mellow is for in the room where we snuck past all the Biobots. There are a bunch of breakable crates, or they will be breakable with the kinetic hammer. So we are gonna make sure to break every single one before we leave that area. But before we get there, we're gonna head down this corridor instead. And here is a little bit better. In this first room, there is a gate fuse that we need to pick up to be able to access the 2 other rooms. And in this corridor you will also find data drive number 7 out of 8. So this will be the second to last one if you're going for the collectibles. On my first playthrough, that was something I found really annoying, because I missed number 7 because I didn't go down this corridor. When I got to that place, I was where the Biobot was. I was so focused on that, and I was a bit disappointed that the game had tricked me to just move down a dead end. So I never even thought about checking if this corridor was accessible. But before we head back, make sure to pull out the gate fuse so we can get out into the main room again. And here we will very soon, when we are supposed to get the kinetic hammer, it is once again time for one of those Da Vinci Code looking puzzles. And I am not a fan of this one, because this is the hardest one in the game, and you're also at a very tight time limit. You do have 20 seconds, just as with all the other ones, but in this room the puzzle is straight in front of us. You will see 2 Biobots start banging on that window, and if you're not quick enough, they are not just there for show, they will break the window. So I would say you have 2 20-second cycles to do this, max. If you haven't unlocked the puzzle by the end of the second 20-second cycle, that was a very hard sentence to say, by the way. Reset the checkpoint. Checkpoint will drop you off just outside the room, and it can be very frustrating since the puzzles are completely random. There is no way to like get a good rhythm. All you can do is memorize which ones of the spools that will move on their own. Try to be quick and effective. But you can see the difference in between the kinetic hammer and the stun baton when it comes to the Biobots. This does a hell of a lot more damage, and you will see when we face off against regular biophages, this just destroys them. But the trophy, don't let it mellow. The description for the trophy reads: break all the boxes or all breakable crates on the factory floor. And this is part of the factory floor, so make sure you break all the boxes you see me breaking in this room, because this will count towards the trophy. And after you've sure that all the boxes in here are broken and that we have looted through everything, we are gonna head back out into the area where we snuck past all the Biobots. First thing, we want to go in here to the left to break all these boxes. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about the kinetic hammer. The kinetic hammer works a lot like the stun baton. You have R2 that does regular swings, and you have R1 where you do heavy swings. And if you hold down R1, he will charge up the hammer and pound it, do a ground pound attack. That has an AoE effect. It is quite deadly. When you do it against a Biobot, I think I do it now even. Usually they will stagger and move back. That is not 100% consistent like he showed right there. Sometimes they will just power through that attack. I don't completely agree with the fact that they can do that. But I would recommend, whenever you're fighting Biobots with the kinetic hammer, always use R1 attacks. Whether you do the ground pound or just a swing is entirely up to you, but it does the most damage. And you always want to go for big damage with these fellas, because you want to kill them as fast as absolutely possible. And for some reason all the Biobots in this room are missing an arm. Something happened between you crawling into the vent and coming back out here because all of them have gotten mutilated. Which is great because it gives us like it eases you into fighting them with the hammer. And this room is the bulk part of the factory floor. So what are we gonna do? What we are gonna do now that all the Biobots are dead, destroyed, whatever you wanna say, is run around this room and make sure that we break every single breakable crate. If you have broken all the ones in the room with the kinetic hammer and in the left little alcove in the corridor before going out into this room, the trophy will pop before you leave this room. I will show you the exit. Make sure you don't go out through the exit until you've gotten the trophy, because the exit is a point of no return. If you leave this room, you will not be able to get back in. That is very important to know. But this is very easy. All the breakable boxes, thankfully, that is very kind of the developers. But they stand out like a sore thumb. They are bright orange and they have those orange lights. So we can just make laps around this room and break all of them. And by the way, this is the exit. So make sure do not go through that corridor before you are absolutely dead certain that every box in here is broken. And it's quite easy to miss one of them. Because as you can see, in this room suffers from, it has a lot of geography, so to speak. There are a lot of boxes, there are a lot of little pathways. I was being extra cautious. Not quite sure why I decided to be so cautious, because I already unlocked the trophy on my first playthrough. But I wanted to make sure I didn't miss, I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything for this guide. By the way, here are 2 crates that I walked past. And that was sloppy on my behalf, so it's a good thing I went back there. But when you get over here, when you break all these boxes, like this one, like so, if the trophy doesn't pop by this point, if the trophy hasn't popped now, then you have missed 1 or 2 boxes in that room. So make sure to go back and do another lap. And in this shop, this is a great time to stock up if you're low on health after fighting all those Biobots. That is a great time to heal up, because it is mini boss fight time. These boxes do not count towards the trophy. Don't Let It Mellow is supposed to have popped at this point. Just making sure that I've gotten that point across. But here we'll fight a total of 4 Biobots in waves of 2. The first 2 will come in from the door at the other end. I like to soften them up with 2 explosive canisters and move back around this corner and set up the ground pound. If you time this correctly, you can use the corner of that railing as like a safe zone. And if you time the ground pound correctly, you can like hit the ground so they will move back around the corner when they stagger backwards, and that will give you enough time to set up another ground pound attack. And I talked about that before in the previous episode. When they charge up for the AoE attack, if you do a heavy swing, like an R1 swing, you can interrupt that attack. So make sure if you have a Biobot right in front of you and he starts glowing blue, charging up the blast, just give him a heavy swing and like, I'm not having any of your bullshit, Toaster Boy. I'm the boss here. And be careful, because I've said before, even on normal difficulty or medium security, they will take down your health so quickly. You saw I went from more or less green to red in one hit. So they hit really hard, even on this difficulty. Now he tried to charge up the blast, but I was like, no. Wolfman says no. Be gone, horrible machine. And as soon as you've taken out all 4 of them, you're safe. And also, if you went through a lot of health injectors down here, you can backtrack. This is a great thing. You can go back up to the store and make sure to shoot in some health injectors so you're spiffy and fine. Because there's not much left of the DLC at this point, but it really picks up from here on in. The remaining parts of this are gonna be quite intense. This has more or less just been the warm-up for the grand finale. We have 2 episodes left of this walkthrough before it is complete, and we will have beaten Final Transmission together. But that is the end of episode 4, and I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.